This is Brandon Drum, Colin Kennedy for 247 Sports,
Yep.
OUinsider.com. We are actually here, yes, in Washington, D.C. Later on tonight, we will be at the coverage of one Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
5-star that's announcing between LSU, Maryland, and Oklahoma. It's actually getting a bit windy. We were actually in the plaza area of the Holiday Inn. My hair is going crazy. But, yeah, been an interesting week, to say the least.
A long one, for sure.
Yeah. Last night did some things that can be construed as developmental and trying when it comes to getting the equipment to work. And we will be live at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. There has been, though, lots of buzz surrounding this. Kind of walk everybody through, just the buzz, everything that's going on with it.
The dominoes that might be falling,
yeah,
according to one Cale Gundy.
Cale Gundy's tweets, all the tweets that have been going out.
Yeah, I don't know what the coaches are planning exactly, but all their tweets indicate either they're going to get a bunch of commitments or maybe they're like robbing a bank. I have no idea, but there's a whole bunch of intrigue surrounding July the 4th, and it's not because of the celebration going on. It's because of the potential massive day the Oklahoma Sooners could have on the recruiting trail. I am very interested in what could take place. I think we have a good sense of a couple of guys that may announce, obviously one being Caleb Williams. We'll be diving into that situation here in a second, Brandon, but when you look at this day, the thought of potentially Oklahoma landing the top quarterback commit in this entire class leads you to believe they could land a couple of other high-profile dudes as well. Obviously, there's a name swirling around like Latrell McCutcheon. We've noted on OUinsider.com. That announcement should be coming here at a little bit later this afternoon. Caleb Williams, obviously, like Brandon said, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. We'll be broadcasting that live on CBS Sports HQ, and you can watch that live stream on OUinsider.com. But then there's the aftermath. What happens once some of these names potentially join Oklahoma's recruiting class? Does a guy like Jaleel Farouk potentially make that move? Maybe a Damon David, a Tristan Lee, a Kelvin Gilliam. There's a number of different guys that Oklahoma's pursuing right now. They'd love to see follow suit if Caleb Williams or Latrell McCutcheon were able to commit. We'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we were supposed to go see, speaking of Kelvin Gilliam, the 4-star defensive lineman from the Richmond, Virginia area, we were supposed to go see him. What was it? Yesterday? Yeah. Rental car situations became a problem on the 4th of July in D.C., as one might expect. They're actually going to have a big fireworks display about 2 blocks down yonder where the government mall's at. And then, obviously, you're going to see the fireworks tonight in the backdrop of where he will be announcing. We got to go see the setup, obviously, because we're the ones running the cameras and stuff like that. So it's going to be fun working for CBS HQ, doing all this for him. But the good thing is you can go to OUinsider.com and you can see a lot of things as far as live coverage. It'll be one click for you to watch it, 8 p.m. Central, which means it'll be 6 p.m. on the East Coast, 9 p.m. on the West Coast. 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And then it's just going to be a lot of fun. Regardless of where he commits, regardless of what he does, we're going to have a lot of coverage on OUinsider.com. So it should be fun. Some school's going to be very happy tonight. Obviously, Latrell McCutcheon's supposed to be announcing here, in the next hour or two?
It's coming up.
Yeah, and he'll be streaming on his Twitter and on his Instagram, so you're going to want to watch all of that too, speaking of the 4-star defensive back. So there's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of stuff to be had. And then, in our opinion, if you've been on OUinsider.com, 247 Sports, we actually think today is kind of the precipice of what could be a massive month for the Sooners going forward and the Link Up 21 class. It could be a special class. It could be I've predicted it between 3 and 7 when it finally ends up. And And if that happens, you're looking at probably the best class in the last, decade since the Tony Jefferson, Brendan Clay. I mean, the 2017 class was really good. 2018 was really good. 2019 was good. But it just seemed like rankings-wise, I'd have to go back and look, but I feel like that 2010 class probably was the highest ranked in the last decade, maybe.
Definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at this month, you're talking about it being one of the biggest. I think OU has a potential to jump from mid-30s, early 30s in the recruiting rankings all the way up to like number 11, number 10, number 9, maybe even into that top 7 like you're mentioning, with a couple of big commits here in this month. I really am fascinated, though, because, again, it still all has to come down to the Caleb Williams effect, right? Does he eventually join Oklahoma's recruiting class? By the way, shout out to Travis Penner. He says, "Big Boomer, thanks for doing B-Drum and Colin." Hey, no problem, man. We're out here covering this stuff for you guys.
Trying to tweet this stuff out and get it up on the boards and stuff, too. So don't mind me looking down, guys.
It's been actually a pretty big adventure, Travis, and for everyone else who's been watching this, thanks for sending in your comments and watching, because we've been constantly learning software, trying to get prepared for this massive day. And circling back to the point I was making earlier before acknowledging your comment, it's the Caleb Williams thing all going down tonight. And I wanted to break down the situation going into this thing at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports HQ and OUinsider.com. Obviously, it's a top 3 between Oklahoma, LSU, and Maryland. You take a look at the top 3, Brandon. I think, for me, OU's the clear-cut favorite. I think last time I checked, there were 29 crystal ball selections favoring Oklahoma for Caleb Williams.
Right, yeah.
So I think there's a pretty good gut feeling across the network that Caleb Williams might be in Oklahoma sooner. That being said, it's been noted on 24/7 Sports by our very own Steve Wiltfong that Maryland made a very late push. They kind of tossed their own Hail Mary in there. Mike Locksley wants him bad. For me, LSU is also kind of the outlier. They have Garrett Nussmeier, and Nussmeier was kind of a guy who waited and waited because LSU kind of had that cautious optimism. They were potentially in the race. But now that they have Nuss, this very much feels like a Maryland-OU race to me down the stretch.
It does. It does. I think Nussmeier kind of pumped the brakes on LSU. And then you got to actually, when you start talking about LSU and Caleb Williams, it's more or less he didn't get to go out there and take that other visit when the new staff, the new offensive coordinator was hired.
Yeah.
What was it? Sean Linehan was the one that was
Scott Linehan.
Scott Linehan. I always say Sean every time.
Scott Linehan. Cowboys.
Yeah. But they didn't get to do what they wanted to do, and they wanted to go out there and see all that. So it's not that LSU's not a player, because I really think they are. They've continued to recruit him. They've continued to push for him, and they do have a chance. Maryland, on the other hand, now they're the team that, if I was going to say if it's not Oklahoma, I would pick Maryland. I honestly would. And I've said this a number of times on OU Insider, on Twitter, what have you. I have done a lot of different things as far as kind of putting out my affinity for Mike Locksley as a recruiter. I think he's a very good recruiter. I think he does a very good job of, doing what needs to be done to get Maryland back to where they need to be, or where they could be, Ralph Friedgen style.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I mean, he's starting to put up the walls across this region specifically, and that's what he has to do. I mean, in order to keep that program on the upward track, get them back into national relevancy. I mean, there's a ton of talent in this DMV region, and Locksley knows that he may not have the national brand to go out and get a bunch of guys. He can swing a guy or two like Rakeem Jarrett, who he swung from LSU in a cycle ago, but I mean, in order for Maryland to really get back on track, they have to land the guys in this area, and so Locksley knows that not only getting a guy like the number 1 quarterback in the country, that being Caleb Williams, that helps a ton, but it's also the fact that he's the number 1 quarterback in the country, and he's a very influential player in this region. And so Maryland is fighting. They're clawing and scratching at every last chance that they have in order to try and give Oklahoma a pretty decent challenge. We'll see how much those efforts pay off. But again, I think we can both agree Oklahoma's probably still the leader in this race, and in the event that Caleb Williams makes that commitment official, it's a huge get for Lincoln Riley and the Sooners. I want to acknowledge some more comments, by the way, while we're at it. Travis just being complimentary, as always. Thank you, my man. He says, you guys are the GOATs. And EZ sending out the O emoji, which has become, I guess, the alternative to the eyes.
That it is.
Riley?
Yeah, it's the new. So I was talking to somebody the other day that would know, obviously, and they just said when the Jansen Dunn thing kind of went down, the eyes kind of went away a little bit. Doesn't mean I don't know that they're gone for good, but right now they're postponed.
Yeah.
Maybe indefinitely. And the O kind of took off with the Link Up 21 recruiting class. The commits kind of doing that O, and then the coaches followed suit, and then it kind of became Lincoln Riley's second back call.
Yeah.
You know, Batman call or whatever it's called, where the little
emblem flashes in the sky.
up in the sky. So it's, I don't know. I like the O a little better because it's more for Oklahoma. People started taking the eyes, so it stopped being, Lincoln Riley's deal only. Even though he was the OG of it, people took it because it, like baseball, obviously, Coach Johnson, and he's the looky here with the eyes and stuff like that. So
Texas with the hush.
Yeah, the hush. Oh my goodness, yes, the hush, hush, hush.
Which, by the way, I mean, when we're speaking on this whole emoji thing, for me, when we're talking about not only the emoji itself, but also what's going on right now and the O relevancy as to what's taking place, I think in the past, the eye emoji was kind of an individualistic thing referencing one commitment, because then there would be multiple eye emojis. For this, it almost feels like the O is representative of the massive amount of commitments that they're potentially going to land this July 4th and so on. I mean, it feels like the O is now an indication that, hey, this isn't just one guy. Like, this O emoji represents the university that's about to land a ton of commitments, potentially. We'll see what happens. But again, I mean, I feel like that O for now represents Lincoln Riley's indication of, hey, I think that they're going to get Caleb Williams, Latrell McCutcheon, maybe a Jalil Farouk, who we entered crystal balls for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of names that are on the table right now, and I think that O representation kind of has to do with that.
Yeah, and I talked to somebody today, and we discussed it. I was very close to putting out a crystal ball for Savion Byrd today, but just because today's July 4th and everybody's going to automatically go, oh my God, they're going to commit today.
Tensions are high.
Tensions are high. I held off. But from things I was told, I like Oklahoma's chances with the four-star offensive lineman. And obviously, I like Oklahoma's chances with the four-star wide receiver from the DMV out here, none other than Jalil Farouk.
Yeah.
Talking to people, I feel pretty confident Oklahoma is the likely leader here. As obviously, you put your crystal ball in, and you explain that on the VIP board.
Yeah.
As well, I've had mine in for a while. It's Oklahoma's rolling with this Link Up 21 class. And today could be the start of, like we said earlier in this broadcast, something big. A
whole lot of dominoes falling. We got a whole lot of more comments too, Brandon. Easy started off with the O emoji, then Kenneth Mason, John Moreau, everyone bringing in the O's. Boomer Sooner from John and Curtis. Garrett says, yo, what's up, Garrett? Travis asks, please tell me CBS is going to get you all some 4th of July barbecue. I mean, I hope so. We've been working.
Probably not.
We have been working this holiday weekend, but I mean, this is all for you guys as well. We thank you all for really helping us out on OUinsider.com. We've seen a tremendous amount of growth, and so we're really excited about the direction of that site, and it's all because of you. By the way, guys, because you're sending those comments and we can see them, send in any questions that you have as we go into tonight's event.
Yeah,
I mean,
questions,
we would love to answer.
Concerns.
Hopefully you don't have many concerns. This is a celebratory day. We also hope that you guys are being safe.
It's the 4th of July. I'm rocking the OKC here, but I also have my 4th of July kicks. I'm going to prop my feet up here, guys. So if you haven't seen these J's on me yet, you're going to get a nice little whiff of them now. So
not in my face.
Bam!
Still, good Lord.
Look at that. Yes, sir.
Hey, Liam says thank you for all the work that you do for us. Hey, we appreciate you supporting us. I mean, this is a lot of fun for us to do, and we hope it's a lot of fun for you guys to stay engaged with. All right, Garrett has a question for us, Brandon. What do you think of the most recent crystal ball for Emeka being Emeka?
And then he's obviously talking about our publisher, Brian Bishop.
Who entered a crystal ball for Emeka.
So, this is a tough answer.
So, okay, I'll lead it off if you want me to.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to word this right.
Okay.
I love Oklahoma's chances for Emeka. Okay, I do.
He said it. He said it, not me.
Okay, here's the deal. They have to get past Ohio State.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the problem. They also have to get a visit. And I've talked about this ad nauseum on OU Insider. It's one of those things where Oklahoma has put themselves in position. Now let's discuss that after we see where Caleb Williams is going to go.
Yeah.
Because that is going to play a massive role. Those two are tight. And that goes with JT Tuimalua as well.
Yeah.
He's very, very close with both of those guys. So here's the deal. If Oklahoma was somehow to pull off Emeka Egbuka, the chances for JT skyrocket. And
Those dominoes.
It's the Kel Gundy dominoes effect. And this is one of those things where patience, unfortunately, is a virtue, but also being very, don't overthink it. Don't get your hopes up too high.
Yeah, just enjoy it. I mean, right now is a celebratory time. Again, I'm with him. Ohio State's still a strong leader, but I think Oklahoma, if they get Caleb Williams tonight, they're in really good standing. We have a ton more questions, so thank you guys sending these in. Are you going to be live for just a bit or from now until 9? So we're going to be live right now, and then this is the plan. So we're going to be operating CBS Sports HQ's live stream.
Right, yeah.
We're
running the cameras and production right here.
Yeah, Brandon's going to be operating our site and a lot of pictures taking place behind the scenes so CBS can utilize those photos. It's going to be a lot that we're doing. But then afterwards, everyone make sure you guys tune in on the Oklahoma Sooners on 24/7 Sports Facebook page. We're going to go live.
Or
with
OU
Caleb.
Insider, because this will be on OU Insider as well.
Yes, so we're going to go live with Caleb after his decision on whatever happens.
Yep.
That 24/7 Sports site. We're going to talk with him about why he made that decision.
You just go to, if you want to watch Caleb Williams' announcement, you go to OUinsider.com. It'll be on the front page. It'll say live announcement. You click on that. You click play at the top of the page. Boom. You're going to be watching it live. You're going to get to see it happen live and in color on OUinsider.com.
Yeah, so we'll have the live stream link for you on the site. It's all going to go hopefully really well. We're really excited about it. Travis asked a question, though, because we talked about it. Maryland made that little late push. You never know with LSU because they're recruiting momentum right now. Travis asked, who does OU go after at QB if for some reason Caleb doesn't go with OU? I'll take the lead on this one and get your reaction. So,
you already know who it is. So
yeah, Demetrius Davis, North Shore quarterback. There have been long-standing rumors for a while now that very talented Houston Signal caller has had really strong interest in Oklahoma. Now, in the event that Caleb Williams were to go to a Maryland or an LSU, I very much believe that Demetrius would listen pretty wholeheartedly to any OU offer that was made. That also being said, I wouldn't put it past Oklahoma to maybe look at another option and then go all in on Quinn Ewers. Because Quinn Ewers is a guy that OU is very much in on, and I think Quinn Ewers is a heck of a ball player.
Well,
and because they get Chandler Morris in the cycle before, maybe you try and go all in on Quinn in 2022. Bottom line, I mean, if Caleb doesn't go with OU, there are options like Demetrius or Quinn on the table.
Right.
So it's not an end-all, be-all situation.
We have the first Maryland, the Terps. You guys have a shot for real. I honestly believe that.
I mean, hey,
I do.
It's going to be entertaining down to the wire. Like we said, the Terps made that late push. They kind of put in their Hail Mary final pitch. We'll see how much Caleb values that. Sean says, "Sup, guys?" Sean, hey, I appreciate you always tuning in on our Facebook Live shows. We got a whole bunch of things. Comments coming in.
I still want to know. What was that? I still want to know what?
I still want to know. Horse-sized duck.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Okay. That was a question on the board. That's it's a military question.
All right, let's do this one. So this has been asked to me a couple of times. It's been asked to you a couple of times. It's a fun question to answer.
Okay.
The over-unders are something we always do in the world of sports, right? Jared asks, over-under 2.5 commits today for the Oklahoma Sooners. What's your taking?
Yeah, I say under.
Okay, you
say
say
the
under.
Reason why I say under is because I don't like getting people's hopes up. Do I think there could be other ones? Yes, and that I'm not fence riding. It's the fact is that there's really no substantial evidence out there that somebody else outside of the two main targets are going to announce today. There was originally, but if you've been on OUinsider.com, you've gotten we were the first to break. Well, I was the first to break the
Keon
Keon
Coleman
stuff,
situation.
and I called Steve Wiltfong when I found out about it. Said, hey, he's not going to Oklahoma. He did his due diligence, and he confirmed on his end, and we switched our crystal balls. So, I mean, it is what it is. Keon's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that Oklahoma isn't going to get a good wide receiver in the end, potentially.
Yeah, that's kind of the question. I mean, that could be the trigger that gets you to the over.
2022, yeah. Well, and they're trying to save for a Mecca. Obviously, for a long time, the thought process was Oklahoma was going to take 5. Jalil and Keon were going to be taken regardless. Jalil Farouk, 4-star from the DMV area out here, and obviously Keon Coleman from Louisiana. They both were probably going to be taken, but Oklahoma in the end decided, you know what? They're in such good standing with the 2022 class guys. Why not? And why scare away a bunch of really talented guys in 2022 by taking 5 guys in 2021 when you can take 3 or 4 if you have that one spot saved for Emeka Egbuka, the 5-star out of Washington, or if you don't get him, you just push that over to 2022, and instead taking 3, you take 4 in 2022, and that's kind of the mindset, according to what I've been told, where Oklahoma's kind of heading here.
Yeah, so I mean, Brandon's taking the under. I would personally take the under right now, but again, I mean, this thing could really evolve because, in my opinion, once Caleb Williams makes that decision, if it's to OU, anything could happen.
Yeah,
anything
after
could take
that,
place.
you just go ahead and buckle up because the weeks after it could be pretty fun.
Yeah, get your seatbelts ready because we're going for a ride if that thing takes place. So we're going to answer a couple more questions here. We got to get out of here pretty soon, so send in those final couple questions. We see some takes on Caleb Williams' performance at the Elite 11. He was elite on that first day.
Yeah, and the 2 days. The pro day was, and people need to understand, pro day is just one competition. And that one competition is just, it is what it is. But he was the most consistent, according to everybody that we've talked to throughout the whole time. So that's why he won it. I know he wasn't number 1, but once, maybe twice, if at all. But
in my opinion, I mean, it wouldn't be terribly difficult for OU to get staunchly in the race for a pretty solid ball carrier.
If I'm Oklahoma and you miss out on Kamar, and
tough.
say you don't get L.J. Johnson or Donovan, I just went blank. Donovan Edwards. To me, in my mind, you instantly go in state, and I know Oklahoma State has Arkansas has A.J. Green committed, but you go and try to flip him.
Yeah, why not?
That's what I do. You actually look at him as a running back instead of a defensive back. Oklahoma was talking to him as a running back, but they weren't ready to take him. So that's kind of where that all went. I can tell you this. There was multiple times where I think he tried to go to Oklahoma, and I don't think it was Oklahoma felt so good about Kamar, they just weren't willing to do that because in 2022, they're sitting tops for Gavin Sawchuk and Raleek Brown, who are both potential 5-star guys.
Yeah, that was going to be my point as well. I mean, Oklahoma in the doomsday scenario where they miss out on Kamar and a couple other big names like L.J. Johnson, who I believe is the Texas A&M lean right now. Yeah, it's a difficult position, but I think OU's very much the leader for Raleek Brown, Gavin Sawchuk as well. And you never know. I mean, I think that the 2022 class could be one of the greatest in OU history.
I agree.
We'll see what happens in terms of dominoes falling in that cycle. But for now, I still think that OU's in a really good spot for Kamar. And again, the Caleb Williams effect there for me is very real. If Kamar Wheaton sees Caleb Williams makes that commitment to OU, I think the Sooners are very much in it for that very talented running back.
I like that question right there. Does Caleb Williams have as much pull as we have been hearing about with other commits or other recruits? Yes.
Yeah, he's the number 1 quarterback in the country. I think everyone wants to play with the number 1 quarterback in the country.
Yeah, he does. I mean, you're talking about absolutely. Quarterback, you win. This is if you're a coach on the defensive side of the ball for Oklahoma, and you potentially get or Maryland or LSU, and you get Caleb Williams. The second you call up and say, "Hey, look, you're gonna have a good quarterback for the next 3 or 4 years."
You're immediately projecting
you're
yourself in
already-
the college football playoff
Yes,
race.
you're already immediately projecting yourself into the college football, or at least for conference titles,
Yeah.
which means you're going to be on TV all the time. You're going to be in the limelight, which also means you're going to be in front of a lot of scouts and a lot of other things. So the potential you go into that next level jumps up exceedingly. So, yes, absolutely yes.
This guy is definitely someone that has a ton of really strong relationships that go from coast to coast.
Right. it
He's
does.
a down-to-earth, hard-working kid, and he just relates well to anyone he's around. And
He's
as a result,
transcendent kind of with his personality. For
I mean,
sure.
it's one thing to be a great player, right? But what really makes Caleb Williams special is that intangible,
Yeah.
that personality trait that makes him so relatable to other prospects. And I mean, that's why we talk about Emeka Egbuka even being on the table for Oklahoma. JT Tuimoloau, I mean, that's another guy that you just talk about being on the table just because Caleb Williams potentially commits. I mean, this guy, he has so many great connections, and he's such a noteworthy presence that everyone's going to want to play on the same team as him. And as a result, whichever team lands him, they're going to be looking pretty good on the recruiting trail for quite a long time.
Yeah,
Let's take a couple more questions
Yeah,
before
I
we
saw
get out of here.
I saw the Caleb Williams will be signing with the Terps. Will flip and be signing on signing day with the Terps. Or I've also seen there's been like a leak and stuff like that. Look, that leak, you can't leak something that hasn't happened, and that was just a bad move, unfortunately, on that site.
Yeah, we don't need to dive into terribly much because
Yeah,
I mean,
it just was a bad move in general
Yeah.
because, and I'm be polite about this. There's a chance it could be very wrong, and if that happens, that's a double whammy, and that's just kind of, you just don't do that.
yeah. So getting out of here, let's go. I liked the question earlier on. Garrett sent this
People are
one
saying
in.
hi to my wife on there now.
Is OU still the team to beat for Kendall Daniels? Now, Brandon, you've been a guy that's really followed Kendall Daniels' recruitment.
Yeah,
you had him on
Yep.
OUinsider.com in an interview with him and his mother, which is a very good piece. So this is a good question for you. Kendall Daniels, what's the status with him and the Sooners?
Well, and I want to answer that one too before we sign off here about the Farouk deal. But
Yeah, Farouk to Maryland. We'll answer that to end
yeah,
the show.
Yep. So Kendall Daniels, look, Oklahoma's recruiting him as an athlete. He'll potentially be a linebacker at Oklahoma, but he's probably going to start out obviously as a safety because of his size. I honestly believe because he's got two brothers that are 6'3", 250, and 6'2", 230 or something like that. So genetically, he's going to be a bigger guy once he stops playing basketball.
Yeah.
Now, right now, he's playing basketball a lot, which means it's harder for him to hold weight. I can attest to that. Before I went to college, I was $170 going in, 6'1", 170, but I weighed 190 by the end of my freshman year because I wasn't playing basketball all the time, and that does a lot to you. But so I'm projecting there. I know other teams are saying we're going to stick you at safety. I don't know that I believe that. I think they're gonna try to sell him on that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna move him wherever it fits best for the team, and that's probably gonna be linebacker. But when it's all said and done, Oklahoma, on the other hand, sits really well with them. They talk to him a lot. It's Coach Odom, Lincoln Riley, Coach Grinch have all been really been recruiting pretty hard. So I think he's going to be a part of the 2021 class for Oklahoma in the end. But you can't discount Texas A&M and Clemson. Clemson has been making a really good push lately. So is Texas A&M, and they have very solid relationships with him. So
Yeah.
it's going to be one of those deals where when he announces. He says he's not waiting to take visits now, and he could be doing whatever he wants to do whenever. And he's also another guy that's close to Caleb Williams. So if Caleb Williams was to choose Oklahoma or LSU, which incidentally is another one of Kendall Daniels' top four,
Yeah.
I think LSU could end up making a run there too. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall Daniels has a ton of options for good reason. And you talk about the multiplicity, the versatility that he can bring. Some schools see him as a safety or a linebacker. I think what was
Isaiah
really telling.
Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah Simmons is the comp that he gets very often, and I see it a lot. But I also think what helps Oklahoma, R.J. Young, one of our fellow writers, talked about Clayton Smith, one of the OU commits, and he talked about how Clayton Smith was sold on the OU defense because he's going to be allowed to play multiple positions.
Right.
And I think the OU coaching staff would very much be open to the idea of allowing Kendall Daniels to play a couple of different spots, whether that's safety, linebacker, edge. You just never know. So at the end of it all, I think that's what really helps the Sooners in that Kendall Daniels race. And again, it doesn't hurt the fact that they're the in-state school in that top group. So again, Kendall Daniels, maybe he's someone that follows suit in the Caleb Williams thing.
Yeah.
We just don't know right now, but he is, to me, one of those top 3-4 guys that when talking about who OU has to land, I mean, they have to go get a guy like Kendall Daniels.
Yeah.
So you wanted to end the show with this
Yeah,
question.
the Farouk. So I got a question from Agape Stevens.
I believe that's the resident Maryland fan in the comment
Yes.
section. So, hey, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love from the Maryland fans that I tend to get.
Yeah, love was
It was-
loosely used
yes,
there
it
in that
was.
sentence.
Yes, they love me so much.
But what do you think?
Look, Caleb Williams chooses Maryland. Farouk's going to go to Maryland.
I agree. I agree.
I mean,
100%.
that's 100. He said he's even kind of put it out there for everybody. It doesn't where Caleb goes doesn't mean everything, but it means a lot. Meaning,
Yeah.
it means a lot, and a lot being a lot. They're really, really close friends, and wherever Caleb decides to go, that's the good chance that's probably where Farouk's going to lean right now. Since everybody thinks Caleb is leaning Oklahoma, you would have to say Farouk's probably leaning Oklahoma. But does that mean that that's how it's going to play out? If Caleb chooses Maryland tonight, I wouldn't be shocked to see Farouk announced to go to Maryland soon after. I mean, I honestly think Loxley does a very good job on the recruiting. We talked about it earlier. The guy is a freaking stud on the recruiting trail.
He's starting to put those walls
yes,
up.
Yes, he is around here. It's becoming harder and harder. The good thing for Oklahoma is if they actually somehow pull Caleb Williams out of the DMV, Oklahoma already had a pipeline there from previous years,
Yeah.
and it'll continue to go. But it's going to get harder and harder as long as Maryland wins.
Yeah, and I think to kind of put a bow on it all, like you said, it's going to factor in. It's definitely a heavy factor, but I also think what's been kind of revealing through this process is Caleb Williams has kind of gone through his own recruiting process, and Jaleel has taken upon himself to go through his own. And I think in following what a lot of experts have seen on 24/7 Sports, I mean, Maryland feels pretty good about where they are with Jaleel Farouk. And I would not put it past Mike Loxley if he's able to swing Farouk, even if Caleb Williams commits to Oklahoma. Now, again, I put in a crystal ball last night for Farouk to Oklahoma. I think we're both guys that feel pretty confident about the Sooners standing with him.
Right.
And that's a really good indication. I mean, Farouk is a stud. 6'1", 200 pounds, carries it like it's 185.
He's a speedster.
I mean, just go look at this guy. He's an extreme talent. And I also think it's really helpful because that's going to allow Caleb Williams to kind of assimilate into his new environment a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Having someone he's familiar
He's
with.
got
but
Joseph Wette as well, former teammate, very close friend of his. at
Exactly.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these are all things that really
But Maryland
favor.
has way more close friends of his.
That's
so,
my
I
thing.
mean,
That's what I was going to say.
That's the scary part
These are
if you're an Oklahoma fan.
These are things that all really help Caleb. For Farouk, I mean, he can go to OU or Maryland and be just fine. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a lot to follow here very, very soon. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and make sure you keep up with OUinsider.com and the 24/7 Sports Network. So we're going to have a ton of coverage.
Yeah, we are. And right now, it's obviously we have to do this, but it's 60% off, which $43 for a year or $1 the first month. That whole year for $43, you'll get the 2020 season, you'll get all the recruiting, you'll get everything, both signing days, all that stuff, or $1 first month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great deal going on right now. It ends on Monday, so capitalize on it. We've had a bunch of people already do so, and I would recommend doing it because we'll be rolling out tons of content, and I have some pretty cool stuff coming later on this week.
Yeah, and also make sure you go to OUinsider.com as well, not only to sign up for that 60% off, but we will have the CBS Sports HQ live stream right on the site. You're going to be able to press play and watch.
Yep.
You can, of course, go to CBS Sports HQ on your television, your Fire Stick, your laptop, it just doesn't matter. You can go on here and watch us get you the live stream commitment of Caleb Williams to the top 3 of LSU, Maryland, and, of course, the Oklahoma Sooners. And then right after that, Brennan and I will be going live on the Facebook page of whichever school 24/7 Sports
and
site
it'll be on OU
that
Insider.
he commits, and we will link that to OUinsider.com as well. So you're going to see us interview Caleb Williams live after the fact, It's going to be a very eventful night tonight, and I'm sure a very
regardless of
eventful few
where he
days.
goes, we are going to be going live and helping out everybody for 247. That's kind of our job this week, and CBS. So we will do a lot of stuff. I mean, it's going to be cool. So that 60% off is going to be worth it. You can once again, you can go to ouinsider.com and you can stream Caleb Williams live, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. West or Pacific, and 9 p.m. on Eastern.
On the Eastern
and
Coast.
so obviously 7 p.m. Mountain. I covered all four.
Yeah, it's
I covered all four. I always forget Mountain every time. Like it's like that obscure time zone.
yeah. I mean, it's
It's the
difficult to
smallest
navigate
one.
the zones,
It's got
but
the least amount of people too.
yeah, again, at the end of the day, we're very appreciative of all your support. Let us know in the comments. We'll go back and look at these after the hectic few days and see if you guys like this. We've downloaded software, so we may be doing a few more live videos.
Yeah, let
as
us
we
know in the
build towards
comments
the
if you like it,
season.
for sure.
I think this went pretty well. We'll
Yep.
see how it looked in the aftermath. But again, thanks a ton for your support. Tell your friends and family everything that we have going on ouinsider.com.
Maryland
Remember-
OU, real quick.
Yeah.
Maryland OU is the top two. That's what I would be, and that wasn't even in order. That's just who I think are the top two schools.
We'll see what happens. But again, thanks a ton for your support. We'll be doing this probably very soon. We'll see you also with Caleb Williams tonight after his commitment decision. Thanks a ton. Be sure to check out ouinsider.com.